So hello again. I think we can start. Today we'll be discussing how to use our brand new features, especially in regards of allocation of the overheads and how we actually suggest to use the new functionality, some part of methodology, different examples, etc. So first of all, yeah, let's start from a couple of words regarding our company. It was established in 2017. Right now, we have more than 200 partners, and one CI is the international division of one C company, and which is provides business digitalization solutions for the global markets. Here you can see, of course, a little bit simplified map, but I think you can understand that we have our partners and projects all over the world, Europe, Africa, Australia, Indonesia, PAC, North America, Latin America, etc. What are we suggesting? So first of all, we're suggesting to implement three main products. One C Drive, one C ERP, and one C Perform. Each of them, they have their own capabilities and purposes. They can work simultaneously if we're talking about some big holdings, for example. But the common thing for all of them is that they have the same foundation. So all of them, they're powered by one C enterprise platform. Here you can see the architecture, let's say. And today we're going to discuss our one C Drive solution. A couple of words regarding it. So we have all of the standard, let's say, subsystems for different purposes. Of course, we're talking about maybe 4 or 5 subsystems. The following: production, purchases, inventory and warehouse, finances, and sales. And today we will be focusing especially on the production side of the functionality. But regarding one C Drive, you can see that we have different local versions for Turkish, German, Mexican, Indonesian, Colombian markets, and a lot of partners who are implementing their own solutions where they own, let's say, adaptations of one C Drive. Different languages, different deployment setups, let's say. So either it might be on-premise or cloud. And we are focusing mainly on the production services, wholesale and distribution industries. But of course, our customers, they can from different industries, they can use this product. So today we will be discussing how we can master costing with one ERP. First of all, we will start from objectives of this webinar. Then we will talk about the differences between the actual costing and normal costing, different types of industries and their allocation basis. And I think in the middle of the webinar, yeah, we will be switching between the business cases, the allocation basis, and one C Drive in particular. Objectives. So today, I want to show you, I want to you to understand the difference between the actual costing and normal costing. So first of all, normal costing, it was our, let's say, first version of the functionality that is allocating overheads to the direct cost. Then we will explore how overheads are allocated in actual costing right now. Learn how cost drivers vary by industry types. Today we'll be taking a look at 3 or 4 examples of industries, but of course I'm not talking about the particular niche or small industries. I'm talking about industries in general, or maybe it's better to call it the types of the production. And then we'll be discussing real production scenarios. We'll be producing, surprisingly, shrimps, then batik shirts. It's a national Indonesian shirt, then palm oil. Yeah, for all of the people who likes it, or maybe eat something with palm oil. Okay, we'll be producing it, and some furniture. And then learn how to configure and use actual costing in OneSea Drive. But moreover, today, so a part of the functionality or standard way of presenting the functionality, we'll be having different audience polls, because we want to understand the common maybe or the general vector or opinion of most of the participants from our audience, in order to in which way it's better to improve once you drive, and what do you prefer, maybe your customers prefer in terms of the allocation basis. So yeah, I think that it should be interesting. So first of all, let's concentrate on the types of cost and documents forming them. So here you can see 2 big parts. So the left part of this slide, you can see their costs, and they are registering by the documents which called work in progress. So we'll be calling component costs. In the right part of the slide, you can see that we have indirect cost and manufacturing overheads. And for the standard cost, so for the previous, let's say, generation of this subsystem, we had these, 5 boxes. So during the month, we are registering our operations in the same work in progress, so the same document for both of the parts, for the component cost and for the operations. And simultaneously, we're registering real costs, real manufacturing overheads by using 4 different documents. So if you want to write off something to the overheads, you can use inventory transfer with the operation kind which called charge to expenses. Then if you want to register some payroll, let's say overheads, you can use payroll document. Then depreciation cost, so it's actually it's registered automatically while you are posting the fixed assets depreciation document, and more often I think you can use supplier invoices. So if you're registering some incoming services from suppliers, and those expenses should go not to inventory, like for example landed cost, but not to the direct cost, but to the overheads. And during the month-end closing, you can see that we are, let's say, analyzing both of the parts, and it will be some kind of proportion. So on the one hand, during the month, we are registering everything according to the planned rates, but then we should understand how many or how much those overheads have been registered, and depending on whether it's more than the planned rates or less than the planned rates and planned amount. Subsequently, we had two different situations. So the first one, it might be over allocated or under allocated manufacturing overheads. For example, during the month, the planned amount of overheads 100, but you are registering with the help of those 4 documents. You are registering overheads for, I don't know, 200. And then after or during month end closing, we're using this proportion, and depending on whether it's more or less, we can forward transfer, let's say, those differences to the product cost or to the cost of goods sold. And then in the end, we have the final full, let's say, cost of the products. What changed? So here you can see that if you are switching to the actual costing, those 2 boxes, they are deleted. So right now, if you use actual costing, we are not using those planned rates, etc. We are just using the real cost. And of course, subsequently, we do not have this situation, over or under allocated manufacturer cost, etc. Let's talk about the differences between those methods. And let's slice it into different areas. So through the cost basis perspective, of course, I think it's obvious that in normal costing, we're using planned or standard costs, first of all, and then we have those differences, over or under allocated. In actual costing, we are operating only with the real cost. Overheads allocation, so predefined rates or plan-based. Actual costing based on actual cost drivers. Of course, I think it's obvious. Data input. So we do not need those planned rates. So if you know the functionality of once you drive, we have those operations still in the bills of materials. But regarding the, let's say, expenses during the month, we are not using those rates at all. But vice versa, yeah, we're using actual, so those 4 documents which you saw in the previous slide. So production variances, they are captured separately for the normal costing, but for the actual costing, they're reflected directly in cost of goods. Again, one more difference here. We do not have this situation, or maybe the source, yeah, we have those over allocated, etc. We are transferring or allocating all of the overheads directly to the cost of goods. So it's more accurate method of cost. So it's a realistic method in terms of impacting on cost of goods sold. Of course, if we're talking about this actual costing method, it has high accuracy in product costing, true cost of goods, without any differences, etc. Better, subsequently, it's provide you the better decision making based on real data, without any proportions, plans, etc. Actual costs, so transparent overhead allocation. So you can trace each and every amount starting from the first step when you're just registering those overheads, and in the end. So we will take a look at all of the reports, and you can see, so it's much more simpler to analyze those costs using this method. adapts to changing input prices, of course. So if you are registering planned cost, and then after that you mm, some of the incoming prices for services, for example, they're changing. So using normal costing, you cannot predict it, etc. So the result will be more over allocated. For example, planned cost in the end, so during month and closing. But here for actual costing, again, we are just eliminating this kind of particularities. Yeah. And because of that, yeah, so it might be very essential in high inflation or volatile cost environment. Let's talk about three, let's say, main maybe parts. You can see this triangle. So most of the time, when we have direct cost, direct materials, I don't know, payroll, etc., etc., and then on the other hand, we have overheads. We can allocate those overheads using, for example, direct materials or direct labor or machine in terms of machine hours, for example, or any kind of impact of those machines. And but again, yeah, maybe your customers they use all of those matters, yeah, but most of the time if we have not so, let's say, diversified holding where we are producing, I don't know, simultaneously ships, services, uh, something, some food production, etc., etc. Most of the time, most of the customers, they're using almost one or two maybe those matters, either materials or machine hours or labor, or maybe they are mixing two different methods. This classification is about cost dominance, not exclusivity. And you can see that for different industries, it might be also significant. So for services, for energy, etc. All cost elements, yeah, exist in every production. So it doesn't mean that we're just eliminating materials and we are just splitting the production process and say that no, we are just forgetting about our labor cost, etc. We're talking about weights, so different weights, and the more this weight is, the more impact to the final cost of the manufactured products, and subsequently it's affecting to the very result of the any operational, let's say, activity. I'm talking about P&L. So the margin in comparison, yeah, so if we're using different methods, but we will talk about it later, yeah, it differs. And let's take a look at the different industries, but again, high-level industries. We are not talking about the particular. Yeah, you can see some examples inside each of the industries. But first of all, yeah, I think more often most of the companies, maybe not our company, because yeah, we do not have so many materials in our production because we're using mostly our heads, yeah, or our servers, etc. Here we're talking about material intensive industry. So you can see that regarding the typical features, it's expensive or high volume raw materials. So for example, I don't know, 70% of the cost of the finished good, yeah, it's material cost. Low processing cost, labor, machine, etc. But again, yeah, it depends. It might be, I don't know, 70 to 30% materials vs labor. And value of products is mostly in the input, not in transformation. Transformation means here that you have some, I don't know, a chain of, of semi-finished products, and then after that, just finished products. And the cost of the initial materials might be, I don't know, 20%, but the most impact or most value, yeah, we're providing by our transformational, say, process. Manufacturing, etc. Different examples. So agriculture, like our shrimp farming, chemical production, food and beverage, pharmaceuticals, etc., etc. Of course, most of them, most of these kind of companies inside within this material intensive industry, they are choosing for the location base either actual material cost of those initial materials or quantity of materials used, or maybe some mix. So the more expensive, let's say, your materials, maybe it's better to choose actual material cost. Or if they are not so, let's say, expensive, you can use quantity, because for the first product, you can, for example, use one piece of something, but for the second, 1,000 of something. Yeah, so it's better to choose this kind of allocation base. So the second one, labor intensive industries, manual, semi manual process. So it's not good, it's not bad, yeah, but we understand that maybe the initial cost uh, of the materials, it's not so big, yeah, in comparison to other types of costs. So that's why, yeah, and we most of the time we are manufacturing, so our employees, we are producing something, and it's very expensive. So like this example. Or significant variation in worker productivity or product values come from skilled labor, not materials. Different examples. So garment manufacturing, like today's batik shirt, handcraft, repair, assembly services, etc. And in this case, this kind of companies, they can choose actual labor hours or cost. Of course, it depends on what is more, let's say, appropriate for this particular case, or labor cost per operation. The next one, of course, nowadays we have 21st century, we have a lot of machines, etc. So regarding typical features of these kind of companies, of course, it's mostly high equipment depreciation and maintenance, because we're using very expensive machines with computer, numerical control, etc. All low labor to output ratio, materials, for example, or long production cycle with tiny little manual work. Examples here. So you can see this beautiful picture here. First of all, we cannot see even humans here. Yeah. Of course, we have materials, but maybe the depreciation cost of those, robots, yeah, is too high. So that's why it's a good example. And those kind of companies, they are using machine hours or equipment usage time. For mixed type industries, I mean, so maybe one of the department is producing, I don't know, some snacks, the other some cars, etc. Yeah, so that's why we can use different allocation bases for different departments, and even for different items. Yeah, we'll take a look at the examples later. So the first audience poll, what type of production is used in your companies or in the companies, I mean, your customers' companies, most frequently? Of course, but they can use all of them, or they, are very unique types of production. But yeah, we're talking about most, common things. Okay, so our audience poll, please. Yeah, you can see your window. So window where you can choose either it might be material, labor, machine, mixed, or other. And I think you can see that yeah, it's changing. Okay. So I hope that yeah, all of you already voted, let's say. Mixed type. Interesting. Okay. Thank you very much for your answers. As I can see, machine intensive, it's less, so just 13%. 31 and 38 is subsequently material intensive and labor intensive. And mixed type, surprisingly, 50%. Great. And the other 6%, I think some unique things, Okay. Great. Let's continue. Thank you very much. So let's go further. How these okay, first of all, yeah, normal costing and actual costing. And inside this actual costing, if we are comparing different, okay, the next step, different allocation basis, you can see that in I would say in total, we will be having the same, let's say, sales or retail price for the customer. But if we are starting analyzing and diving deeper into the um, allocation or different types of cost, you can see that it varies on the different levels. And let's just compare. So on the left hand, you can see that we have two products. It doesn't matter, two product categories, etc. And let's imagine that you are, for example, a brand manager or some person uh, in which duties and which responsibilities. So you are responsible for the margin, and you are responsible for both of the parts. So for the sales prices and for example, for the margin. And you can see that depending on the which exactly type or either normal costing and actual costing, and inside this actual costing, what kind of allocation basis, you can see that it will be sometimes a huge difference. For example, you have chosen the some inappropriate, let's say, allocation base, you will see that for the same situation, absolutely. So you can see that 100% on the left and on the right hand. But if you are choosing something different, for example, here you can see that overheads, so they're spreading more, or inside these overheads, we will see absolutely different proportion. And because of the last step after registering overheads, it will be 100% allocating to the direct cost. You will see that the margin will be differ too. So that's why overhead it's not equal even with spread cost. It must reflect real cost behavior. And if we are choosing wrong allocation, so it distorts to product cost, profit margins, to managerial decisions. Because if, for example, let's continue our case, and based on the previous, let's say, information, this one, yeah, we are making some decisions for the future. We are planning, for example, oh, let's say, oh, this product or product category is not so it has not so good margin. Let's say, oh, let's decide not to produce it, not to sell it, etc., etc. But the reason maybe was in the absolutely different thing, yeah, in this choosing the appropriate allocation methods base, etc. So that's why the allocation base should match the dominant cost driver of each production process. And yep, matching the allocation basis to cost structure. So material subsequent to direct material cost, machine hours, planned or plant driven, I'm sorry, or mixed. Yeah. Another thing, by the way, we can use planned cost of finished goods. So we haven't seen it in the very first triangle. Yeah, it's I'm just, adding or incorporating more variables to this equation. Yeah. So we can use planned driven planned cost of finished goods. And we can do it. Yeah, we will see how to work with the documents. Direct labor cost, uniform or simple products. It's, almost the same thing, yeah. Produced quantity. So we can allocate overheads according to the quantity. So if we produce 3 pieces of the first product and 5 pieces of the second product, we can use it as the allocation base 2. So that triangle plus these two things which are they are reflecting our produced either quantity, actual quantity, or planned cost of finished goods, or some very unique, complex or hybrid things. Of course, we can use manual allocation. So I have seen huge XLS sheets with a lot of different parameters, etc. But eventually, so in the end, we have some rates there. According to those rates, we are allocating initial direct cost, overheads to direct cost. So let's start the second audience poll. So which overhead allocation basis do you or your customers currently use? Yeah, please, the second audience poll. If you are very attentive, I think you maybe will tell something. Yeah, Andrei, but we have almost the same answers here, but actually no. Here you can see that we are, let's say, we can choose either direct material cost or in the produced products section, you can see we can use quantity or plant cost, etc. Again, we are just diving deeper, yeah, from the industries types to the exact allocation basis. Okay. Interesting. So this time the proportion looks a little bit different. So this time, as I said before, we have 75% of direct material cost. So it's okay. Oh, I'm sorry. 7, yeah, 50%, 9, okay, 9 out of 12 answered that they're using direct material cost. So 6 that they're using direct labor cost. And not so many, let's say. So just one answer with the produced products quantity and planned cost and manual, surprisingly. We have this manual allocation. It's good actually, because we're covering those manual allocations. Yes, so the proportion is reflecting the experience maybe of our team. Yeah, most of the time, most of the customers, there isn't direct material cost. Okay, let's go further. So today we will be discussing 4 different production types. And you can see that we have this production company. Here we have 4 different departments. For each of them, we will be using different, let's say, combinations. So we have shrimp farm, and you can see that we are referring to the most common, let's say, allocation base. So in this term, we are using direct material cost allocation, either quantity or amount. So it's already, let's say, it's already been released. I don't know how many releases ago, and we are producing shrimps, different types of shrimps. Then we have textile arts workshop. Here we will be using labor cost allocation. Here we are producing 2 different types of batik shirts, so handmade batik shirt and batik sarong without tailoring. Then the third one, we are producing palm oil. So we have palm oil mill, and we have a huge machines there, you know. So of course, before it, we are gathering all of those materials. Let's say for us, yeah, we are not producing the very first stage. Yeah, we're just producing this oil. We have 2 finished products, so crude palm oil and palm kernel. And the last one, woodworking division and allocation but planned cost. Here we have teak dining chair and teak coffee table. The principle will be the following. So here you can see a lot of numbers. Maybe, yeah, it's some kind of shock for you, but okay, let's go step by step. So first of all, you can see the structure of the very ordinary production order. So you can see just 2 products. You can see the kilos, and you can see that we're registering 2 different overheads to this department. The first, all of them, by the way, will be services. Remember, in the very first schematic, you have seen 4 documents. So for registering materials, depreciation, or labor, or services. In order to simplify the process and to save your time, of course, we are using just supplier invoice with the services. And here you can see that the first will be electricity, where we're using direct material quantity, and water quality monitoring and treatment, where we're using direct material cost. So I'm trying to showcase to you most of the possible variations. You can see the prices, etc. And finally, you can see the allocation base. So for the first service, we will be using quantity. For the second, the amount of direct material cost. And this is the very simple proportion. Simple, you say a lot of 0.47, etc. Don't worry. So once you drive, will be calculating it instead of you. But you can see this proportion for both of them, both of the services. On the left side, you can see electricity, and we are registering just one, in order to simplify maybe your calculation in your head, And we have this proportion of the initial materials, I mean, initial quantity of the initial materials. Those are the final numbers. We do not need to calculate it. And this is exactly what our monthly closing is doing. So it's allocating according to those proportions. And for the amount, you can see that we have both of the amounts of the direct material cost. We have initial 10 hours of pieces. For us, it doesn't matter. We're not focusing today on the registering the documents, the initial documents during the month. We're registering on the mostly month and closing and how we can use this functionality. So it's we have registered 10 treatment services, let's say, and we have this amount, and we are allocating those 10, and you can see the final result. So for the first product, for let's say premium size, it will be allocated 4.7, and for the second type of shrimps will be allocated 5.2 and amount subsequently. So let's dive deeper into functionality. I think, in order, So first of all, from now on, we have what? We have in our companies, okay, this is it. This is the production company. In our accounting policy, we have this step. And in this step, you can see that previously we had just normal costing. Right now we have actual costing too, and we can choose for what kind of processes or process types we can select for production only or for assembly, disassembly. What else? For our we have custom allocation base document. We will be diving deeper into those documents after that. So it's completely new document, and we can use it for different purposes. I will tell about it in more detailed way. But first of all, I think let's start from the registering of those initial overheads. So as I told you before, we are using supplier invoices for these kind of purposes. And we'll be jumping between the presentation, etc. So the first will be our shrimp farm. You can see for supplier invoices. So in the first and in the second supplier invoices, we are just buying our initial materials. But in the third and in the fourth supplier invoice, we are registering those services. And let's take a look at this one. at the tabular section. This is it. And let's compare. So we are registering electricity 10, here, and water quality monitoring 1 piece, let's say. Again, for us, it doesn't matter, pieces, hours, etc. So this is the second thing here. So where we are registering our, let's say, direction. So here you can see that we are choosing expense item. And in this expense item, here it is. This is the, sorry. Yeah, as I can see, it's still just a second, share green. Yeah. Yeah, now it's better. Oh, by the way, yeah, I think you have a good imagination because you were tracing all my path from our accounting policy, etc., etc. Okay, well, let's come back to accounting policy. Yeah, this is it. So it was the first new feature. So you are choosing either you're using normal costing or actual costing for this company, and for what kind of process types. Yeah, and coming back to their supplier invoice. Again, we have 4 supply invoices. The first and the second for our materials, the third and the fourth for our services. As you remember, we're registering just services. And here it is for our shrimp farm. Okay, well, working. For our shrimp farm, we are registering 10 kilowatts of electricity. Let's compare it here. And water quality monitoring and treatment, 1 piece. You can see those, numbers, etc. So 1, 10, here it is. And yeah, the main attribute here. So where exactly it should go? We are getting those services from this supplier, but it goes to the expense item. This is it. Yeah, for in order to highlight, exactly, so where exactly it should go, you can see that this is it. It's like a tip for us. So electricity, which goes to, and this is the second attribute that have been changed. So here we can use either allocate in proportion to direct material cost, or to direct material quantity, or allocate by custom cost allocation base. And as you remember, what are we actually using here? So for electricity, we're using quantity, allocate in proportion to direct material quantity. Yep. And for water, we are using cost, allocate in proportion to direct material cost. Correct. The second case. The second case will be producing our bodies. In this example, you can see that we are using a little different things. So here we're using labor cost, and here For these kind of things, yeah, right now you can see that we have allocation by custom cost allocation base. And it will be, by the way, going to the future, yeah, it will be the third audience poll where we want to know, yeah, in which direction it's better to make new improvements. So right now we are using this brand new document where we can specify those allocation bases of your customers. I will tell you about it when we will go deeper into the month-end closing process. But here, we are specifying that for electricity. Again, I'm not just, I won't be comparing all of the numbers. Believe me, yeah, they are equal. And I will be just explaining that for studio, lab cleaning services, etc. Again, we're using allocation by custom cost allocation base. Okay, registered. Where can we specify those allocation bases? It's here. Production, custom allocation base. Again, we're talking about batik shirt. It will be our textile. This is the new document. So because of we need to get those allocation bases, how we can use it. So we are just specifying the date. We are choosing the appropriate month. In this database, we are working within June of 2025. And you can see that we can fill out all of our expense items. Let's take a look at the manufacturing overhead statement. This is it. Here and here. But this is it. This is our supply invoice. Okay, I'll do it a little bit louder. This is our manufacturer overhead statement. So when you are filling the document, you can see that we have all of those expense items. Regarding this tick box, if you are not selecting this tick box, that means that the overheads will be allocating among all of the products here according to those allocation bases. Remember, 70-30 for the first service, 70 and 30 for the second one. But of course, you can use your own allocation basis for different income and expense items. If you are selecting this tick box in this case, the proportion will be taken into account the quantity of the finished products or semi-finished products. Yeah, for us, it doesn't matter. And the proportion will be a little bit longer. I will show you in the very last example. So here you're just specifying. So the more expense items you have in this department, in our case, it will be textile arts workshop, the more columns you will be having here, and you can specify it. Or we're thinking about some magic button, let's say. So for example, if your customers, they have their allocation basis somewhere in Excel, etc., we can import those allocation bases for all of the products and for all of the income and expense items that we want to allocate among our products. Very simple document without, accumulation registers, etc. So it's the document just registering those allocation bases. Then the third one, it will be our crude palm oil in this department, we are using, for example, allocation base machine hours. Let's take a look at the document first. It will be the last document. And here, crude palm. Yeah, it's here. So this is the electricity and equipment maintenance. In both of the cases, we are selecting allocate by custom cost allocation base, and we are registering allocation basis for this department for this particular month. In the next month, it might be the same, for example, proportion, or absolutely different. You can just copy paste the documents for the same department from the previous month, and then select or adjust it according to the next month proportions and allocation basis. Because of right now, we cannot register those exact machine hours. Yeah, we are using this document as well. And the last one, you can see those exact things. You can see in this case that we are using custom cost allocation base, and we are registering it for our furniture production. It's here, and in this case, we are using this tick box, so just by product quantities. And if you, so the rest of the data, it's the same. So in the second tab, you can see those products and you can see those allocation bases, the same, but you can use your own ones. But in this time, we can see those tick boxes. And if you are comparing the calculations with the previous one, so you can see that we were using just those ratios, and we didn't need to didn't dive into the products and the quantities, I mean finished products, etc. But this time we want to take it into account. And you can see that initially, so we have two steps allocation. So the first one, we are allocating initial cost of the overhead, and then we are allocating it to the products. In here, we are using the second, let's say, allocation base. I'm talking about our finished product quantities for teak dining chair and teak coffee table. So in this regards, yeah, the proportion might be a little bit or not a little bit different. But again, because of we are taking into account both parameters, not only just the initial allocation base, but and the quantity of the finished goods, this is the proportion. So we already covered this functionality of these kind of cases too. So the rest, let's say, so again, just for summarizing, yeah, we have four departments. In all of those departments, we have their own overheads. They're registered by those documents, those supplier invoices. And regarding the rest of the, let's say, activities or steps in our OneSea Drive, it's there is no difference. Yeah, we're just closing the month. Everything will be done under the hood of this month-end closing. So let's try to do it. We are opening company. month in closing, production company, June, and selecting those things. Whoops, something wrong. So you can see that we have some warning message here. And in order to understand what's wrong, let's go to the report. Maybe some of you can see this report for the first time, but actually, yeah, we have all the information regarding the, let's say, forecasting or predicting some calculations, yeah, or we're taking into account some possible mistakes. And here, surprisingly, we can see, here it is. Errors appeared when in the month allocating costs. So we can see that for electricity and for machine setup and etc. Yeah, for woodworking division, we do not have those allocation bases. Maybe most of the attentive persons already have seen that I'm consciously forgot this. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot this thing. So the last document, it's not posted. This is another feature, yeah. So for example, if you're specifying something in those, let's say, rules of allocating, and you forgot to register the document for this department, so our smart month in closing will tell you that, oh, sorry, so you should specify it. That's why I'm posting the document and then again closing the month. And wow, everything is great now. So let's check our reports and let's compare, let's say, those numbers with our business cases. So first of all, yeah, if we are regenerating the initial manufacturing statement, you can see this picture. So you can see that plus supplier invoice minus month in closing, where we actually to which directions we actually allocated those numbers. Let's check it here. Step by step. As you remember, we have 4 departments. So let's start from the first one. It will be our shrimp farm. This is it. Of course, we can analyze the exact material cost and quantities, etc. But let's focus on this section. So we have manufacturer overheads, and for electricity, it was just one, as you remember. Yeah, very cheap electricity. And it's allocating according to our proportion. This is it. Yeah, 0.47. This is it. And 0. Yeah, rounded 53. So it's allocated according to our, and you can see, by the way, it was my tip for the future. So you can see that electricity we are allocating according to the direct material quantity. Yeah, we have all of those proportions, but we won't be checking it. And regarding the second one, water quality monitoring treatment, so we are allocating 10 into 2 different types of shrimps, and as a result we will be having 4.7, 5.2. This is it, and 5. So after that, of course, those overheads, they are allocating into the finished products here. And so this amount is going, so let's say no changes here. So the last step, we are getting those indirect costs, we are allocating it into the final product. So as you have seen in the very first schematic, it will be the last step. The same story for the second. So it will be a handmade batik shirt. So I'm just closing the previous one. Let's take a look at the next example. What do we have here? So we had electricity and studio lab cleaning. This is our electricity. And you can see that the proportion or the allocation base was 70 to 30. And you can see the final result. Electricity, which goes to the first product, to the batik, will be 0.3. This is it. And for the second product, electricity, 0.7. So it's spreading or allocating according to our base. But in these terms, of course, I think you understand that we are the meaning of exactly according to what we are allocating, you are putting this meaning by yourself. So what it is exactly. But in our case, as you remember, so if we drill down into the parameters, for this electricity, of course, we have this allocation method, allocate by custom cost allocation base. And we have the appropriate document for this particular department, for this textile arts workshop. And yeah, the same story for the third case, regarding our machine hours. I think it's obvious, yeah, for you. But in this regards, yeah, so we have this electricity, equipment, maintenance, etc. We are allocating according to machine hours, but the exact values or the exact allocation based ratios, they are in our manufacturing custom cost allocation base. They are here, actually. And the final case, it's our teak dining chair and teak coffee table. A lot of numbers here, but again, please, please be calm. Once you drive, will do it instead of you. We are allocating according to these ratios, but in this time, yeah, you can see that we have two steps allocation. So the first one we're allocating according to our main, let's say, coefficient or allocation basis, and then the second step we're allocating among the products. But of course, because we have very simplified, let's say, version of the maybe real production, the allocation base is not so, let's say, differs from the same case without those quantities. But if you have a variety of different products with different quantities, etc., the difference will be very significant. But again, we can operate with both of the situations. So as a result, yeah, we can see that all of the overheads, they are allocating, but for machine hours, for labor cost, and for let's say manual or planned cost, yeah, we have been using this new document where we are registering those first of all expense items which we have during the month, and then we are allocating to this exact products with the exact location basis. It was okay, coming back to the past year. So the first method was, as you remember, material either cost or quantity of direct materials. Then we understood that we want to cover as many cases as possible. So technically speaking, you can cover all of the particular cases. The only difference is that you will be using this document for those allocation bases. Because for some things, for example, those machine hours, we do not even have right now the appropriate documents. But if, for example, you tell us that, guys, yeah, most of my customers, they're using those machine hours, and according to this, to the upcoming audience poll, the last one, of course, we will be thinking about this new feature, and gradually we want to cover all possible cases, even those, planned cost prices of the finished products. So we'll be thinking about improving this document. But again, we want to know your opinion regarding this point. So that's why the last audience poll, where we want to know which not yet implemented or developed allocation base would you like to see in future releases. And here you can see the rest, let's say, methods. So direct labor cost. So instead of, let me paraphrase it. Instead of using this document where we are specifying those allocation bases, you want to do it automatically. Then produced products, we have two different variants here, either quantity and according to that quantity. So the more quantity you have for the first finished product, the more portion, let's say, of the allocating overheads goes there. Or the same story regarding produced products, we're talking about planned cost. As you know, we already have price types, so it's we can think about future improvements where we will be using that information and put it into this document with new operation kind, something like this. And the fourth, machine hours. But in this regards, maybe if you have this kind of cases, and as I can see, you have it. We have one vote here. It's better to think in advance about some objects where we can get this information. Because as you know, we are talking about machine hours. We should register those machine hours somewhere, either in the operations or separately, etc. Okay. Hmm, interesting. So, yeah, the Oscar goes to direct labor cost and to produce products planned cost. So 4 out of 6. You want to have those location bases, and less than the previous one, produced products quantity and machine hours. Okay, but the final result, like in the Queen song, I want it all, and I want it now. Okay, we'll think about it, but thank you very much for your feedback. I think that we will be diving deeper into details and prioritize it in our backlog according to those things, and maybe we will be contact you regarding some particular details. So just to wrap up, so we are talking about actual costing method where we're using the exact cost of the overheads during the month. And we're talking about already implemented or out of the box, let's say, allocation basis, quantity of direct cost, amount of direct cost, and let's say backdoor for the other methods where we technically can register anything. Either it might be direct labor cost, produce products, quantity or planned cost, machine hours, or it doesn't matter. Maybe you or your customers, they are allocating the overheads according to based on the number of bugs or cups or pencils in their departments. Yeah. So again, the meaning of the exact allocation base, you can think about it by your side with the customer. But from now on, you can register any kinds of things. Maybe sometimes it will be not so, let's say, convenient in comparison with the uh, automatic allocation, but you have it right now, yeah. And we are thinking about the future steps. So the most frequently asking feature, yeah. And as I can see, we have two of them: direct labor cost and produce products planned cost.